I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce.
Good morning. Hope you're all feeling lovely today. Hope you all had a great, whatever the hell yesterday was, Saturday. Hope you all had a great Saturday. I placed one bet yesterday, was the Bulls. It lost. So I was 0-1 yesterday. Someone says I'm just here to hear Sauce hate on the Commanders. No, bro, don't paint me with that brush. That being said, I'm fading the shit out of them as promised. Yeah. Where's Toast? Some of us like to do the job, Toast. Where you at?
I don't know.
I'm gonna call him.
I got a beef with the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, just a sorry ass.
You
team.
pushed though. You didn't lose.
No, I mean I did push. It's just about respect and honor, and you can't cover against the fucking Heat. It's just there he is, off the phone. There he is, Toast McGee.
Oh, Toast, you're deciding to work. Why? What is that? What's wrong?
My computer won't even work.
Oh, who cares? It looks great.
It's great, but no, I have none of my information. All the shit
Wait,
that I
what, your
wrote
computer's
down.
not even turning on?
It turns on, but nothing loads. Everything, like, it'll pop up. Everything pops up, but as soon as I make the internet go to work, it won't even load Gmail. It takes like
So you have no internet.
It says I have internet though. Like I click Gmail and the Gmail thing pops up, and then it loads all the way to the very end. Like the red bar is completely full.
The red bar.
No, you know what? I hate you so much sometimes.
Right.
So
right. The red
much.
bar. The red bar. All right. So yeah, Toast, if you need to bounce, it's not a big deal. But
I know.
We love you.
Eagles, Commanders. Yeah. So CLV King strikes here. I got Eagles at 4.5. Not a big deal. Yeah, I actually got positive closing line value on both of my bets. So we'll start. I'll write the Eagles minus 4.5 up. You guys watch my video. You guys already know how I feel, so I'll go last. Steve, what about you? What do you think on this one?
Yeah, I got 3 bets. You want me to run through all 3 of them?
Yeah, go one at a time. I'll put them up.
All right, let's do it. First one, Commanders team total over 20.5. So they're over this line in 15 of 19 games this season. One of those misses, Jaden Daniels' debut week 1. We all know they're one of the top 5 offenses in the league. When you just go up points per game, averaging 29, it is unusual to get a 20.5 line. I do realize who they're facing, but 2nd in passing yards, 6th in rush yards. It's going to be the 3rd time they're seeing the Eagles defense. Yes, you could say that the other way around, but they're not going to be surprised. It's not like a normal playoff game. These teams know each other. They had 18 and 23 first downs the first 2 games. Had some fumbles one game that ruined some drives. So they know how to move the ball on this team. I'm not going to sit here and say they're just going to, put up 35 and blow them out or anything. But Commanders also on 4th down, the number 1 team in the NFL, converting 81% of them. That could also extend some drives. Could also backfire, obviously, if they could kick a field goal or get some points. But also another chance. And I think they're going to be aggressive. Dan Quinn's not afraid to roll the dice there. Eagles defense, yes, they're obviously a top 3 defense. They just gave up 400 yards to Stafford and the Rams. Obviously, we know Stafford is a complete statue back there, not like Jaden Daniels. So they can be beat, and they've actually been leaking a little bit in the run defense as well. They're still a good run defense, but they haven't been just to that elite measure that they have been. And they also, gave up 300 yards to the Packers. They were ravaged injury-wise, quarterback everywhere. So, they've looked like a good defense lately, but also they've faced some pretty bad teams to end the year. Panthers, Steelers, Cowboys, and Giants offenses. The only one in that last stretch of the regular season they faced was Washington when they put up 36 on them. I know a lot of that was 4th quarter, but still put up 36, even though one of those I think was a Kenny Pickett pick 6. But still quite a bit of points. Again, I only need 21 here. It's going to be a top 6 red zone defense versus a top 6 red zone offense. That's going to be the interesting matchup here to kind of see who wins that. But we know Daniels is dynamic. I just love the way he's playing, the weapons he has. McLaurin Zacchaeus, Ertz, Eckler, all these guys. I like Washington to score 21. Again, even if there's an Eagles turnover, you could get lucky with one scoring drive that way. 21 is not a ton of points. I just think it's a little bit too low. So I like the Commanders team total over 20.5. The second one, Austin Eckler over 21.5 receiving yards. I think this line has moved big time since I gave it out on my video on like Thursday or Wednesday. It might be like 25.5 now or something like that. But
You said 20.5 receiving yards? 20.5?
21.5. But again, I think he gets 30 plus here because I know this line has moved. Eckler this season, he's over 9 of 14 games, averaging 31 receiving yards per game. We all know he was out for a little while with an injury, but he's actually been pretty good lately since he's been back. And also on the road, he's used even more. He's over in 7 of 8, averaging over 42 receiving yards per game, almost double this line. Last 5 games, over in 3 of 5. But the 2 unders were an injury and the first game back. The 3 games back since injury, 20, 26, and 41. He had an 89-yard receiving yard game against this Philadelphia Eagles team. 9 targets, 8 receptions. It was absolutely crazy. But these last 3 games, he has 4 targets in each of the first 2 playoff games, 9 catches overall on 10 targets. And he's averaging around 10 yards per reception in the last 3 games as well. So I think he's just going to be used a lot. The Eagles, they do allow the 10th fewest receiving yards of running backs. Again, we've seen it already. Eckler completely dominated. Almost had 100 receiving yards last time. The deal here is Philadelphia is going to get pressure on Washington. They're able to do that, and that's why Jaden Daniels relies on Austin Eckler. Big dump down guy. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a huge help for Daniels, to be honest with you. And like I said, I think he gets 30 plus receiving yards. I just need 22. So that's my second best bet. The third one, it's an under. People aren't going to like it. AJ Brown under 60.5 receiving yards. Now, both Brown and Hurts, they just don't look right. Not only just their connection, but they're also both injured. And then A.J. Brown's numbers lately have been absolutely horrendous. He has a total of 6 catches in the last 3 games. 6 in the last 3. 3 total catches on 10 targets in the 2 playoff games. Just not a big part of the offense. The Eagles, obviously, we know one of the most run-heavy teams. Hurts has only attempted 20 and 21 pass attempts in the last 2 games. He's actually had 22 or less pass attempts in 5 of the last 6. They just do not pass the ball, and why would you when you got Saquon, obviously? His pass attempt line in this game is 24.5. It's obviously hard to get yardage when you're a receiver and you're throwing it 20 to 22 times a game. But matchup-wise, Commanders giving up 13 fewest yards. It's about an average matchup there. He did go over in both games, but again, one of those was Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett had a much better connection with A.J. Brown than Mr. Hurts did. He just absolutely peppered him with targets. We have never seen Hurts do that, really, except maybe one game this year. And so in those 2 overs, obviously one was back in November and one was with Hurts. But for a guy who's averaging 4.4 catches on 11 yards per reception lately, it's going to take a lot. Obviously, I know A.J. Brown can get 1 deep pass. You could also look at under 4.5 receptions as well. But I just don't think he's going to happen. He's beat him twice already. I think Washington's going to have a little bit of a game plan, but I also just think Saquon runs the ball about 48 times this game, and he's just not going to be used. I just don't think the volume's high enough. So it opened at 67.5 this line, by the way, just to kind of tell you where the market is going with this. I got a 60.5, and then it went down to the 50s. So it's been crazy movement. But anyways, those are my 3 best bets for this game.
So I do agree with a lot of what you said. My bet is on the other side. I think your biggest enemy for Washington team total over is the time of possession, because I really think the Eagles offense could be on the field for long stretches. I don't think there's any evidence that suggests Washington's capable of slowing down the Eagles on the ground. The Eagles were able to run the ball in Washington successfully both times they saw them this year. Last week against the Lions, such a unique game, because the Lions averaged 8.7 yards per carry with a 61% success rate per rush. It was one of the Lions' most successful rushing performances of the year last week against Washington. It was a very unique game in a sense that Washington just kept scoring, so the Lions couldn't. I mean, all the Lions had to do was hand the ball off and just keep running it, but they couldn't because Washington put up 31 points in the first half of the game. Like, we can't come out and have a run with a run-heavy attack here. We can't play the field position battle because they have 31 points in the first half. So that was just a very unique game where the Lions were, I don't want to say abandoned the run, but they were like, we can't just run the ball. Like, we need to score. Obviously, we're talking about a completely different situation here. You go from, you could make an argument that they're going from 32nd to 1st here in a sense where Washington was just on the road indoors against a Detroit defense that the current state of it is one of the worst in the NFL. The last handful of games, you take out the Sam Darnold game, the last handful of games, Detroit was allowing 30 points per game, 7.5 yards per play. Terrible numbers. So you go from indoors against the Lions defense to now outdoors against the Eagles defense that's first in the NFL in yards per play allowed, first in success rate. So just a huge switch up there. And if Washington's not putting up those big numbers, I don't see any reason for Philadelphia to drop back to pass here, because on paper they should have 5.5 yards per carry easy. I do agree with your A.J. Brown bet, though. I agree with a lot of what you said with that. So, yeah, I'm on the Eagles. I got it at 4.5. Like I said, I think we could be seeing 7-8 minute drives from Philadelphia here. And if you're going to keep Jaden Daniels on the sideline that long, then bring him out down 7. It's just not the same position he was in last week against a much tougher defense. Probably, what do you think?
Yeah, so the Eckler plays up to 25.5, but I'm tailing that. I really liked your analysis. Thought it was pretty good. I do like the road splits. And yeah, I mean, Kyron Williams only got -1 yards through the air against the Eagles last week, but Josh Jacobs week before 40. So yeah, I really like that one, and I'll be tailing. So God bless your soul, Jabo. But the other pick that I liked in this game that isn't tailing you, in fact, it may be a bit opposite against you, is it got the under at 47.5. We got the Commanders coming off a 76-point showdown at Detroit, but let's not forget the previous game for the Commanders at Tampa Bay, resulting just 43 points. That's under the total here. Commanders 4-1 to the under the last 5 road contests compared to 5-0 to the over the last 5 at home. And those 2 road playoff contests for Daniels came against the Bucks and the Lions pass defenses. Respectfully, they just don't sniff this Eagles pass D. I mean, we've seen the Commanders put up points in their games against the Eagles thus far, but if you look at the advanced metrics, they're just not that impressive. I do believe there's some luck involved. The Commanders are an offense that leans on the run to set up the pass. They're 6th in rush play frequency. But again, I don't really feel too optimistic about the output on the ground here. There's a stark difference in the production in the Commanders matchups against the Eagles compared to the 15 other games. 15 other games, they're averaging 160 yards per game, 5.3 yards per carry, 0.7 EPA per rush. Now listen to this. Against the Philadelphia Eagles, they're only averaging 3.9 yards per carry and -0.5 EPA per rush. So that is a near 0.600 swing in terms of EPA per rush. I mean, that is horrendous. I know the Eagles defense has also looked a bit worse lately in terms of defending the rush, but Commanders really lean on those gap concepts. Eagles defense is excellent at defending those. Top 4 in both yards per carry and success rate allowed defending those looks. And on the other side of the ball, we got an Eagles rush offense that, yes, they obviously have a massive edge over the Commanders, but I don't think Dan Quinn and the folks are morons. I think they're going to commit everything they have to stopping that run game and forcing Hurts to beat them. And I don't think Hurts can beat them. I mean, he's already stinking it up right now, despite the numbers saying otherwise. And in the playoffs, we've seen the Commanders defense switch from a man-heavy and bound shell coverage unit that they were in the regular season to one that's depending pretty much extremely on zone and too high. Hurts is dramatically worse against both looks. On top of that, we saw this Commanders pass rush come out against one of the best pass protections in football last week, the Lions, and put up a 44% pressure rate. Hurts has a 46% pressure rate through 2 playoff games. And I mean, what did he get? Sacked 7 times last week. Commanders have been very efficient with those pressure to sack rate looks. The one other thing I want to say, and I really do like this trend, I know that Jabo's under he took last week, unfortunately did not cash for him, but I think you got to stick to it here. Eagles 7-3 to the under at the link this season, 11-2-1 to the under at the link in the playoffs since 2003. So, and they've never gone under in consecutive games. So, yeah, taking that under here.
Yeah, I was leaning towards the under, but I think it's actually down to 47 now. Let me look.
And just a quick thing on what Kyle was saying too. In regards to time of possession, the Eagles are also very capable of scoring quickly. Saquon Barkley ran for 1,000,000 yards last week. They still had 50-50 time of possession because he's not usually a guy that just gets 3-4 yards. He could get huge chunk plays in this game, and it could be some quick drives, even if they do run the ball a lot. Just wanted to...
Yeah, I'm a little worried about... because I agree with what you said about the A.J. Brown bet, but I'm just a little worried about... All right, so you got to look at it from the coach's standpoint, right? There's question marks with Jalen Hurts in the passing attack right now. There's question marks about his knee, his health. If you're Dan Quinn, right, aren't you loading the box all day here? I just
That's
think
what I
there is
thought
going to be
McVay was
opportunities. I just think
thought, yeah.
I think there's going to be some opportunities for Hurts to make plays. Just because if I'm Dan Quinn, my game plan is make Hurts beat us. But based on what we've seen recently, I understand the bet, and I have to say I agree with it. Just a little worried that Dan Quinn's almost going to come out forcing them to do that, or do you know what I mean?
No, I completely agree. And I was actually worried. I thought that was going to happen last week. And because McVay, Saquon had a record-setting day. And I was like, well, McVay's going to stack the box. It's going to be this. And then I saw what Saquon still did. I was like, geez, I don't even know anymore. I can't predict. I almost went under Saquon last week. But again, yeah, who knows?
All right. So before we move on, we're only doing 2 games here. So do we want to do a touchdown score or something? We'll do a vote.
I want no touchdowns.
I'm not putting no touchdowns as an option. Prop Beaver, can you open up the odds and just give me the foremost?
Yeah, I have them.
All right, well, it's Barkley's.
So 1 second.
Barkley's probably, what, minus 170?
It's ugly.
I wish I could
Yeah.
sort this by the best odds. Okay,
Defensive
so
touchdown.
I'm on odds jam right now. Saquon is minus 250, so that's dope. So I guess we'll
I'm
do
not
that.
putting Barkley on. Give me like
Terry McLaurin is plus 140.
Okay, next.
Yeah.
We've
Is
got
McLaurin
AJ
EN or IN at the end?
Ian.
Ian.
I did it right.
We
then.
got. I mean, I guess we won't put AJ Brown. I guess we'll do Brian Robinson Jr.'s at about plus 180.
Got it.
Yeah.
Give me 2
Jaden
Eagles
Dan-
now. 2 Eagles. It's got to be AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard. Come on.
Jalen Hurts
Oh, Hurts, yeah.
minus 115.
Oof.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, the tush push is coming.
Yeah.
And then we've got, I guess, I like Goddard. Plus, let's get spicy with it. Plus 350.
That is spicy. All right.
I like some spice in my
Let's
mouth.
see what the community's favorite touchdown score is here.
Isn't Jalen Hurts' rush line, isn't it super low because of his injuries?
It is
high 20s or something.
ungodly low. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's tempting, but man, I don't know how healthy he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking about taking his passing yards under, but then I was like, if his rushing yards under, if they're not going to run the ball with him at all, I mean, maybe they pass more, but maybe they're just going to hand it off 85 times. I have no
Yeah.
clue.
It's going to be Terry McLaurin, the community likes, by the way.
We're not going Deami Brown, Prop Beaver.
No, not in this game. I mean, I don't know. I don't really particularly love fading that Eagles pass defense. I do respect them quite a bit. And I do have to say, I love Jaden Daniels. I think everything he's done is fantastic thus far, but has to step up in competition on this stage in the playoffs. I mean, to do things against the Eagles in the regular season is a completely different thing. Normally, the Eagles and Commanders have shootouts, so I wouldn't be looking towards an under, but I think in the playoffs, this is a completely different situation.
All right, Bills, Chiefs, and this game kind of makes me want to. All right, so what you're supposed to do when you're handicapping a game, right? You handicap a game, you make the line, you bet accordingly. For example, you look at this game. I think it should be about Chiefs -1. So at Buffalo +2, there should be a few cents of value on that bet, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. You handicap the game, bet accordingly. This one just has a weird Mahomes in the playoffs clause thrown on the end of it that I'm not really sure how to quantify. I do think a very likely scenario is the Chiefs win on a last-second field goal. So if you can get Bills +2.5, Bills +3, I could see it. The bet I have open right now, I'm kind of just open to discussion at the moment, but the bet I actually have open is over 47.5. Is it? I don't think you can get that anymore. So it's at 48.5 now. That's what I'll put up. So my pick for the game is the over, and I'm going to put that up. Got 47.5. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts, see if I can find something else. I lean towards the Chiefs money line, but I haven't bet it. I only have the over right now. What do you think, Steve?
Every part of me says I think the Bills win this game. I think Josh Allen gets over the hump. I just love the way they're playing. But then you got that clause at the end. And I literally was writing it up as a best bet. And there's something inside of me that says I don't know if I can do it. I really don't. And then Adam Schefter comes out with stats like this. During the Chiefs' 8-game winning streak, the Chiefs have 0 roughing the passer penalties. Opponents 6. Unnecessary roughness. Chiefs have 1. Opponents have 4. Things like that. But no, really, it's been God, I've been burned. I was burned last year, actually, in the playoffs, trying to fade this Chiefs team, especially since they struggled in the season. But it's in KC. I don't know. If this is in Buffalo, maybe it changes it. But again, Josh Allen's 0-3 against the Chiefs in the playoffs for a reason. Bills defense has struggled more on the road as well. They've given up actually 8 more points per game on the road. And that's not a good thing that you like to see. So it's going to be tough. They're going to have to play flawless. I really think the Bills can win this. Will they? I don't know. So that's why I didn't bet a side necessarily. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point what you brought up. I was talking about this last week for the Bills-Ravens game, and I pulled up the graphics of the Bills defense at home versus the Bills defense on the road. Night and day difference. We're talking about at home, one of the best defenses in the NFL. On the road, piss. So now we got the Bills defense back on the road. It's a tough. Definitely supports my over. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And now this over. I have a feeling this is how I think it's going to go. I think in the third quarter it's going to look like my over is dead, and people are like, "Oh my God, under was the call." It's going to be like 13-10 or something, and then we're going to see 4 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes of the game, where it's like Josh Allen goes down the field, Mahomes go down the field. We saw that almost that exact game. What was that? 3 years ago. Where at the end of the game, it's like 2.5 minutes left, and whatever quarterback's got the ball, like neither of them are going to be stopped. So I think this over, it may be a live over if you don't want to tail the actual over, because obviously 48's a key number. I got 47.5. So if you don't want to take the 48.5, maybe wait and take a live over. If the game happens the way I just described it, live over should be cool. Like a slow start, defense looks good, but just spitballing here. So Steve,
I like that look though. Just the 2 star quarterbacks just realize, okay, second half now it's go time.
You remember you remember that game, right? Like 2022, I think it was, where it wasn't even that high scoring of a game, and the final score was like 38-35 because it was touchdown.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So prop. I meant someone give me a prop. I didn't mean you. But anyway,
yeah.
You want
so I got 2 best bets in this game, and this first one's my favorite play of the entire weekend. I don't know what the line is now since I gave it out, but it's Dalton Kincaid over 33.5 receiving yards. He's had an up and down season, but the last 10 games he is over in 4 of the last 10, and only over in 2 of the last 8. So if you're a hit rate guy only, you're not going to love this. But if we go inside the numbers, he's had 5+ targets in 7 straight. And then the last 3 games happened. He got only 2, 3, and 2 targets, but there's reasons for it. 2 were blowouts, 40-14, 31-7, and then the other game was against that Baltimore Ravens team last week, where they only threw it 22 times. They didn't need to throw it a lot. He's averaging around 11 yards per reception the last 10 games, but it's about the matchup. This is unbelievable. The Chiefs are just horrendous. They are the 32nd ranked team in yards allowed to tight ends. Kincaid last year in the playoffs, for what it's worth, 45 receiving yards against Kansas City. Chiefs have been great versus the great versus the run and wide receivers. And in games Bills need to actually rely on passing it and they don't have a low pass attempts, that's when Kincaid has his best games. This is what's absolutely insane. The last 12 tight ends against Kansas City since their bye: Schultz 63, Freiermuth 60, Schultz 45, Akins 30, Stone Smart 54, Bowers 140, Jatavian Sanders 49, Dawson Knox when Kincaid was out 40, Adam Troutman 34, Cade Otton 77, Bowers 78. I list all those to tell you that 11 of the last 12 tight ends to face Kansas City have 30 or more, 12 straight tight ends have 30 or more, and 11 of 12 have actually gone over this line. This is a great bounce back spot here. I have a feeling the Bills are going into this game thinking we have got to use the middle of the field. We got to attack the linebackers. We got to attack this team because they cannot cover tight ends. They've proven that, and they're okay not doing it because they cut off so many other things. Kincaid, this is just an incredible buy low spot with a great matchup here. So that's my favorite bet of the weekend. And then just real quick, Josh Allen anytime touchdown plus 100. Number 1 goal line back, obviously. He has 1+ touchdowns, 7 in the last 10. He has 12 touchdowns in the last 10 games. That is absolutely
insane. You say that's plus
insane.
100?
Yeah, plus 100. It's insane that we're talking about a quarterback having 12 touchdowns in the last 10 games, and we're still getting even money here. He has 4 rushing touchdowns in the last 3 games versus Kansas City, 28.2% red zone rush share. That is now up to 33% in the last 10 games. 6 red zone rush attempts just last week against Baltimore. We know the Bills love to go empty and just plow Josh Allen right into the line. So even obviously if they're at the 1 or 2 yard line, you got to look at Josh Allen. So I love the odds here, getting even money for a guy like him to score another touchdown. But Kincaid's my favorite one, and I lean Bills money line, but I don't have the guts to bet it yet.
Someone said they threw in a super chat, talk about the refs favoring the Chiefs. We're now at the point of the season where they have gotten some favorable calls. I will say for the most part, that's a myth, but it's hard to argue against a couple of the bigger games in the last few years. Public perception is always going to be skewed. For example, we've all seen this. If you're an observant person, you're watching an NFL, you're watching the Chiefs game, right? You're gonna have 5 calls go against the Chiefs in a row. No one says anything, and then the Chiefs get a call that goes for them, and everyone freaks out. So it's like people won't see what they want to see. Throughout the regular season, people will be accusing the Chiefs of getting calls, and there's not. I will say though, it's hard to argue against the last few years. A couple of the calls that have gone their way in these big games. I would say kind of crazy to put your money on something like that. That seems more of a polarized political talking point, more so than a football talking point. But I get it. So for whoever sent that chat in, prop Beaver.
Okay, so I'm also betting on a Bills tight end, but not the same Bills tight end, and we're also getting out the rulers again because the Length King aims to strike again. We got Dawson Knox, longest reception, over 10.5. It may be at 11.5. I don't give a shit. I would be willing to play it there as well. Guy's a big play machine. He's over his last 6 of 10 with Kincaid, over his last 4 of 6 against Casey, and also the guy is a road warrior. He's over his last 12 of 14 on the road with 2+ targets. And he has 2+ targets his last 11 to 12 games this season. So I like our odds there. This Chiefs defense, as Jabo mentioned, they allow the most yards per game to tight ends. They specifically are allowing the 3rd most yards per reception to the position. Last 7-11 tight ends to face him have cleared their individual mark. And the one thing that I really love in this matchup for Knox is the fact that the Chiefs blitz at one of the highest rates in the league. When Knox is blitz, I mean, I guess when Josh Allen is blitz, we see Knox yards per route run go from 0.7 to 2.15. His yards per reception go from 10.9 to 18.9, and that average depth of target go from 7.9 to 13.4. All those would have us fly over this mark. And then it's the same thing here. Chiefs tied 3rd in cover 4 frequency. Knox sees a notable boost in in production against cover 4. Targets per route run against cover 4, 0.22. Against all other coverages, 0.11. Same thing with the yards per route run, 1.9. Against all others, 1.11. So really like Dawson Knox in this matchup. And then the other thing that I like in this matchup is James Cook, 60+ rush yards. I got that at plus 110 on DraftKings. We've seen the Bills really commit to the run in the playoffs. 80 rush attempts to just 48 pass attempts. That's a 63% rush play frequency. In fact, in the 4 playoff games under Joe Brady, James Cook has had 17+ rush attempts in all of them. He's averaging 82 yards per game on 19 attempts with merely just 13+ carries. We got Cook 8-1 to the over this season. He's averaging 89 yards per game over his last 18 to 23. Over his last 18 to 23 since 2021. He's averaging 81 yards per game. And we've now seen the last 12 of 14 running backs to face the Chiefs clear their closing rushing yards line. In fact, make it the last 13 to 14 because my Jaleel McLaughlin line cash, I don't know what props on cash is talking about. We saw the Chiefs unders in terms of running backs were a cash cow earlier in the were very profitable earlier in the season, but now the overs are really starting to smack. And I just think that at the current line, there's way too much value on the Bills wanting to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. I mean, you just do not want that guy with the ball in his hands, especially the way that they continue to lose these big games in the playoffs to him. So I think we're going to see a time of possession battle where the Bills just try and really run that clock and just try and, I guess, success rate them to death on the ground. So going with Cook over yards.
I like the Cook one.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say I like the Cook one too. I actually looked into it and I almost bet it too, and I like the analyzing on that one too. And Dawson Knox might be a sneaky one as well. He does have 2 or 3 exactly targets in 9 straight games now with Mr. Kincaid. So he gets the looks. It's gonna be one of those low volume where when he gets the ball, he better do it there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If not, it's in trouble. But no, I like both those. Those are good.
What I like about Cook, and Prop Beaver mentioned it when he was talking, 4 playoff games under Joe Brady, 19 carries a game. Like this dude, Joe Brady gives this guy the ball in these big games. So what was the odds on that 60+? Because it's actual 54, right?
So yesterday it was 54.5. I got Jim right in front of me right now. So we got James Cook. For 60+, you could get plus 100, plus 100. You could get plus 112 right now in FanDuel.
Plus 112 for that
rushing
season.
yards.
I
And
think I'm
then
gonna do
the
something like that.
actual line is 55.5 on Fanatics and FanDuel as well. Consensus is sitting around 57.5.
Too legit, dude. I said the same thing. I couldn't believe that the public was on the Bills. I had the same result like a couple days back. Like, what do you mean everyone's betting Buffalo? But yeah, everyone is betting Buffalo. It's crazy.
It is wild.
It's wild,
also,
right?
It's James Cook's rush attempts line is 13.5 or 14.5 right now. So something to keep an eye on too if you like the over. But
I mean, it does make sense because no one wants to see Mahomes win.
That is true.
So like,
But
people are
to
betting
bet against it is crazy.
I get it, but I mean, dude, a lot of people have this take right now. A lot of NFL fans. 1 second, I'm gonna put Chiefs money line up because let's be real, I'm gonna bet that. A lot of people have this take. I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I know somebody who's been saying that. People are saying that this Chiefs team is the worst one-loss team in NFL history. The Bills already beat the Chiefs. They legitimately think that fading Mahomes here is like a sharp move, and I get it. I get why you think that, but it comes down to, do you trust them to make a stop when Mahomes gets the ball at the end of the game? As long as he's within 8, I can't see it. He's so good at moving the chains on third down. You just can't get him off the field. So eventually he's just going to score because you can't get him off the field. So I'll put Chiefs money line up. Probably going to bet it. Probably also going to take that Cook rush yards. But as of right now, the only bet I have is over 47.5.
yeah, what do you guys think about Kelsey today?
I mean, one thing that I have noticed is that the Bills are allowing a ton of receptions to the tight end position. But I mean, I have such a hard time capping Kelsey in the playoffs because I have two very different opinions. I mean, one is that it's free. I mean, every time he goes out there, he finds the softest spot in the defense, and he's just sitting there, and he continues to go over. And then the other side of me is like, how are these defensive coordinators not stopping him? How do you not commit every single thing you have to just stopping this one guy at this point? I know Mahomes would just throw it to the other guys and beat you anyways, but it seems that this motherfucker just like, he's the one who beats you every time. Just stop him. I don't know.
I was my mind was blown when I was watching the Texans play defense. I was like, what was your game plan here? Everyone just see, oh, there's Kelsey, but we'll worry about other people. He was wide open, many
One of the
times.
better defenses in the league against tight ends this season too, as well.
Yeah.
So that really blew my mind.
They run zone coverage though, and you're talking about a playoff game. Mahomes and Kelsey in zone coverage. He's gonna.
I mean, they were missing some of their safeties. I mean, Jimmy Ward did get injured, so I mean, maybe that plays a part of it. But I mean, my God, last week was an embarrassment by the Texans covering that dude.
All right, let's do a touchdown score poll here.
All right. So in terms of, I mean, we could put Josh Allen in there because plus 100 is crazy.
Josh Allen, man, when he rushed that fourth down in, I had the Bills as my top bet of the week. Week 11 earlier this year when he had that fourth down run, I was pretty fucking fired up. And I had so many comments calling me an idiot for fading Mahomes as a dog. How could you? It was awesome.
Let's do Kelsey plus 125 because how don't you?
At plus 125, I'm not doing that.
You're not okay. All right. Let's do Xavier Worthy then at plus 200.
I need another Buffalo Bill. What's Cook's, or is it too expensive?
It's plus 135.
Let's do Cook.
Okay.
Even though Cook, when we were looking at that prop beaver,
He doesn't score in the playoffs.
He doesn't score. He's got 19 carries a game in his playoff games. He gets the ball, just one rushing touchdown in 4 games.
Yeah, you said that to me in I guess I don't. You said that to me about my rushing yards prop. I was like, this ain't fantasy, brother.
But by the way, Kareem Hunt is not a bad one. You don't have to include it here, but he's like close to plus 200. He's scored in 3 straight.
Yeah,
he's like their guy now.
He's 100% RB1, and prop beaver refused to admit it.
I did refuse to admit it because I couldn't accept that a trash bin's their RB1, but I guess Isaiah Pacheco after the injury has turned into a trash bin. So I guess there's 2 trash bins back there.
What's Hunt's touchdown right now?
His touchdown's plus 180.
That's crazy to me for RB1. Yeah.
So it looks like it's going to be Josh Allen here. So who won the first touchdown score?
The first touchdown
McLaurin.
score was Terry.
So now we're going to do one final poll.
The GOAT touchdown score.
McLaurin at plus 140 or Josh Allen at plus 100. What is the community's favorite touchdown score? Also, I want to do a quick. I was thinking about doing something, just giving away like $200, have everyone guess the score and the touchdown score in the chat.
Okay.
I was trying to think of something to do, and I think that's the I'm gonna do. Don't type it in yet. I'm gonna tell you exactly what to type in, because I can go back and look at the chat after. So I'll come back and look through at the end of the day. It's Josh Allen by a mile, by the way. Community's favorite touchdown scorer is Josh Allen. So I'll put. All right, this is what I'm thinking. One sec. So I'm going to put an example of what you should type. All right, so one second. And then one touchdown score. I'm going to say. So, see what I just typed on the screen right there? That's how you should type your comment. I'm giving away $200 to whoever's the closest. Home team will be the tiebreaker as far as whoever's the closest. I want to guess the score of both games and put a touchdown score. Type it like that. I don't think you could do a return in YouTube chats, so just put a couple spaces in between.
Am I eligible?
No. But you could say your guess.
Okay.
Guess the score, Prop Beaver. First game.
The score of the first game will be 24-21 Commanders.
The Commanders win.
Yes.
I'm sorry I asked. What's the score of the second game?
The score of the second game, I'm not very original with these scores here. The score of the second game will be 31-30 Bills.
31-30. Wow. I have 30-28 Chiefs. So you just have the Bills kick a fucking field goal at the end. We have the same score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think people are going to have trouble typing in both games. So
And then what would the last thing be? Anytime TD score.
Yeah, I just put Barkley up, but as an example. I think people are going to have trouble typing both games. There. Did you say 6-9 Chiefs? 9-6. What's your score prediction for the first game, Steve?
Oh, first game. Man.
Here we go. Now they're figuring it out. Here we go.
20. I'm a 27-24 Eagles. Probably had to.
And second game.
Yeah, second game. I'm going Bills 27, Chiefs 21.
Bills 27, Chiefs 21. You guys both are taking the Bills to beat Mahomes here, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was talking my shit at the bar yesterday.
I'm gonna leave the stream on for another 20 seconds so everyone can type their guess in because I'm gonna give the winner $200.
Quarterback have not won. Trying to go back to the Super Bowl for a third straight time. I think they're 0-3 now.
But this is Mahomes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm rooting for the Bills, but like, everyone, thanks for watching. Enjoy your conference championship Sunday. Be back. I'm back in action, so I should have a NBA video back up tonight. We're back on the grind here. I went to sleep last night. Woke up. I had slept for 9 hours. That's why we were late with the stream. I literally woke up at 10:35. I didn't set an alarm because I went to sleep at a decent hour, like 1:30. It was like, no way. Like,
decent hour, 1:30.
Is 1:30 a decent hour?
What type of fucking freak says that?
Dude, if I go to bed at 1:30, I will wake up at 7:38 naturally. So I was like, if I go to bed at 1:30, I'll wake up. I don't have to set an alarm. Because I only need about 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, dude. That's how my brain functions.
Wow. You are lucky.
Decent hour, 1:30.
That is a decent hour.
Decent hour.
Yeah,
No.
1:30. Yeah, I was in bed before the bars closed. That was good.
Yeah, the George Lopez show is on. Decent hour.
Dude, the West Coast is only 10:30 out there. Still people awake. That's when the sports are ending, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just not trying hard enough. Maybe that's it.
All right, looks like everyone's got their guesses in. So, have a good day. Hit me up at the Discord if you need me. I'll be home on the computer all day. You can get in touch with me. The betting league's back tomorrow. So we got that coming. It's obviously basketball. So everyone have a good one. Talk to you later. So the betting league, if you're new to the Discord, I'll post how to do it and everything later tonight. So you submit picks every day, you compete, and I give away cash and a trophy to the winner every week. So that's how it works. But all right.